what it is, what it do, and how the hell are all of you? It's yours truly. Petra, fucker back with another mother love. You already know the deal. Grab a smoke, grab your drink, and lock in with your boy, because we back with another one. Now, this show is about to be about crime rising. We've all seen the stats on the news over the last few days. Everything mama talking about it. Crime is up all over the nation. Something nasty. There's a lot of states that now have record, I believe it's homicides, amongst other crimes, that haven't been seen for a long time. We're going to get to those stats. But now, what I want to say first is, like, comment, follow, as always, if you fuck with the show. But if you don't think that the crime is rising, why do you think that? Do you not see the same news articles or read the same news articles or see the same Twitter feeds as other people? Or are you just not acknowledging it because you don't want to? And if you don't want to acknowledge it, that's fine. But don't play stupid in a game of adults. I'm just saying, baby. Now, speaking of my own state, Minnesota, St. Paul and Minneapolis both have record high homicide rates this year alone. Not to mention Minneapolis has 500 plus carjackings this year alone. Those numbers are insane, and there's still a few weeks left of the year. But that's nuts. That's crazy. And when I say that, let's get to some headlines. So this is Minneapolis Smart News app. So, 2 killed, 3 injured in crash involving stolen vehicle, police say. This one's the craziest right here. CBS, Minnesota. Don't look at me. Armed robber casually walks into Minneapolis home in broad daylight. Now, this is from CBS News. It's a local station. I don't think they got any reason to play favorites or anything extra. But we can always crack through the article and see what's cracking. Now, after gathering her groceries in her car, Julia Wicklund hit the bottom to shut her garage door Sunday around noon at her South Minneapolis home. When I went into the house, unbeknownst to me, the door had not actually closed, Wicklund said. The opening was apparently enough for an armed robber to walk through the garage and into her home near 48th Street and Girard Avenue South. Wicklund was sitting at the island in her kitchen eating lunch with her daughter. He walked in the house with no regard, people there or not. Held a gun to us, spoke very calmly, not erratically, not on drugs, just very simply, give me your keys, don't look at me, Wicklund said. She said the thief grabbed her purse, computer, cell phone, and took off. Her son heard the commotion from upstairs and had already locked himself in the bathroom and called 911. It was absolutely surreal, she said. The frightening crime had increased, according to Minneapolis police. The suspects are in cars and follow victims to their homes to rob them, sometimes going inside the home. They are armed and have even attacked homeowners. WCCO tried to ask police where the crimes have happened and how often, but didn't get an answer. WCCO did, however, make contact with 2 more victims in the Lowry Hill neighborhood. It happened again the following night just a few blocks from us. People are being terrorized in our community. She had the locks changed on her home and the car, but her sense of security remains shaken. She is the block captain for the block captain for a local neighborhood watch. She sent an email to neighbors about crime, reminding them to lock their doors and turn on their alarms, even when they're home. It's going to take a long time for any of us to feel safe. Any of us. My home, anyone in our neighborhood, she said. Now, let that shit sink in. Broad daylight. Criminal walks in the crib. Strapped up. Points the strap at you and your kid. It says, hand me the keys. Don't look at me. Broad daylight on a Sunday afternoon. That is fucking wild. And people want to say that the crime rate is not going up. That crime is not rising. That's just a right-wing scare tactic. South Minneapolis, 48th and Girard Avenue. One of the meat markets I go to is on 38th and Cedar. It's crazy. Crazy that shit is supposed to be AO motherfucking K. And WCCO made, in that article, said that they asked the police, how often has it happened and where has it happened? Police didn't give an answer, but then they found 2 other victims that lived in that Lowry Hill area. So just because the police couldn't give them an answer doesn't mean they didn't find one. But that's a very brazen crime to have. So now it's not just carjacking, where you got to park further away. Now you might have to wrap your block a few times to make sure someone's not on your ass. This is crazy. And listen to this crazy ass one, man. SUV splits in half as 2 teens die in fatal crash after chase. Minneapolis cops say split in half. That's insane, man. And then look at this right here. This is crazy to me. Many Minnesota jurors must speak English. Some worry the proxy for race in jury selection. I'm not going. I'm gonna keep it a buck. All day. If you can't speak English, why do you need to be in the courtroom? How are you going to be able to deliberate? Is there supposed to be an interpreter in there with you? Like, come the fuck on. Like, this is insane. It has nothing to do with race. It has to do with common sense and logic. What do you mean you can't? That's dumb. And let's see where they go with this. After a potential juror in Kimberly Potter's trial was struck after she said she did not understand English well enough to follow the case. Some observers wondered why the court didn't offer interpreters for jurors. Worse, some wondered if language was being used as a proxy for race. Jeff Howard and his 2.5-year-old son Frank visit the Hennepin County Courthouse Thursday, April 1st, 2021, in Minneapolis, where posters of George Floyd, Philando Castile, and Breonna Taylor are zip-tied to the courthouse's security fence. After a potential juror in Kimberly Potter's trial was struck after she said she did not understand English well enough to follow the case. Some observers... So, hold up. This person literally said, hold on, I'm not even going to read any further because that's bullshit. A juror says, I don't think I understand English well enough to follow the case. All right, cool. That could just be a way to get the fuck out of jury duty, which we know people do want to get out of jury duty. In this particular case, is high profile as fuck. Let's keep it 100, right? It's crazy high profile, right? George Floyd, Kyle Rittenhouse, Ahmaud Arbery, all high profile cases. Kyle Rittenhouse had the jury followed by MSNBC. Jurors almost had their pictures and shit taken. So people may not want to be jurors anymore. It's even scarier now than it was. Well, man, what if they, what if it's back in the day when it was mobsters, gangsters, you have jurors whacked and this shit, right? People were afraid then. People just don't want to do it, waste time, this, that, the other. But must be about race. See, you can make anything about race, even if it has nothing to do with it. The person just said they can't speak it. They didn't come out and say, oh, that's because they're racist. They said, I don't understand English well enough to follow the case, and that's why they were struck as a juror. But nah, man, it's got to be something extra. This is the bullshit that keeps the division so finely in tune. Crazy, man. And then this right here, I wanted to talk about this. So the jury trial, the trial is underway. Juror's been picked. Kimberly Potter is on trial for the death of Daunte Wright. Now, I've said it before. I think she fucked up horribly. I don't think she should have been crucified the way she was. I definitely don't think protesters should have went to her motherfucking house. I don't think protesters should have went to the judge's house, and that's why one of them was arrested. But we proceed, right? When it comes down to complying, it's for your safety and their safety. So whether you want to or not, you should just do it. And I know you can have every fuck them, I don't want to, rah. You can have every reason in the motherfucking book. But at the end of the day, the reason you're supposed to comply is because it makes it safer for you and them and everyone else involved in that situation at that time. But if you want to take the reins into your own hands, and that would be your life in this situation, and you want to go up against someone that is trained to shoot, go for it. Now, I'm not saying that Kimberly Potter does not understand the difference between a taser and a pistol. Do not get this shit twisted. I am not solely on her side. But I am on the side of, you have to be able to comply. You have to be able to fucking listen. And if you know you have warrants, if you know you have open cases, this, that, the other, why try to get into a struggle with the police? You already know you're going in. Violate probation? You on probation and the cop stop you? You better tell that cop you on probation. Like, I mean, encounters with the police suck. I'm not going to say they don't. They do. Nobody wants to assume that they're going to get in some kind of trouble. But it doesn't always mean you're in trouble. Sometimes it can be a minor infraction. Cops like, hey, yeah, just don't do that shit again. But you got to get to that point. And if you want to be a dick from 21 Jump, how do you expect them not to be a dick back? Now, in her case, in the video, she yells, taser, 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 and it turns out to be the gun. The video is rather clear on what happened. You know, let's get that video. Let's pull that up. Now, this the video right here. We're going to play it. We're going to stop it. Then we're going to talk about it. Them getting out the car, going up to Dante's car. By this point, they had already ran his name. They had already had his name. So I'm assuming they turned on body cameras because the interaction was about to become more of an interaction than just a, hey, how's it going type shit. Just laying that out there so everybody knows.
Just have him step on him. All right, man, you got a warrant.
Right there. I know when they go to put the cuffs on, man, it sucks. But that's the one time you really need to be as still as you can be. Because any kind of movement could really be considered resisting. And not complying. And that right there, he's not complying. Like, it's not that hard just to stand fucking still and let him chain you up right up. Fucking sucks, man. Everyone hates being in cuffs. But better than the outcome if it gets to that point. But look right here. My first thought would be is why did she not just allow homeboy to finish dealing with him? Why did you? I understand that there's two cops. I get it. You got your partners back. I get it. But why did you not just let him finish wrapping him up? And why didn't you pull Dante a little further away from his driver's seat? There's a couple questions that could be raised there. You know what I mean? But I understand not every situation calls for baby got out of the car extremely calm. This, that, was okay to go. You know what I mean? He's resisting. There goes her gun right there. So now, and that right there is one of the biggest questions right there. If she know you got the difference. The grip is different, this, that, other thing. So let's put adrenaline. You gotta put yourself in that position. You gotta put yourself in that mind state. Dude's resisting, dude's moving, dude's shaking your partner, dude's getting in the car. Your straps are on your belt buckle. Your taser's in one spot, your gun's in the other. I don't know how you mistake those, but I put ourselves in the situation. Grab the gun. How do you not understand that that's the gun? Especially with how long she's been on duty. Just saying. By then he'd already been shot.
He shot me. Oh, shit! I just shot him.
Look in the bottom corner right here.
I grabbed the wrong fucking gun! I shot him! Oh my god! Oh my god!
She knows what's gonna happen. She knew the minute that she shot him, the problems that were about to ensue. Scared, shocked. She probably did not wake up that day thinking that she was going to get into an encounter where she had to fire her gun. I'm assuming cops had to be prepared for that, so they may have to, like, anticipate. But I don't believe they wake up looking to have to anticipate that or having to go through with it. Now, you can hear in her voice that she is like, oh, shit. She goes, sits down immediately. And I'm assuming begins to cry. Dante resisted and got in the car and drove away. Ended up crashing and dying later on. Had he not resisted, she would not have had to get involved. As fucked up as it is to say, every situation you're in, you have to take accountability for your actions in the situation. He should have just complied, and he would be alive today. Do I believe what she did was on purpose? No, I do not believe she was going out to do some evil shit that day. Dante and his record proves that he was not stopped because of an air freshener like some people would still try to push. And I understand for the girlfriend that it's hard. She lost her boyfriend. I'm not sure if that was his baby's mom, but she lost her boyfriend that day. She watched him die. This is not like the Philando Castile shooting where the cop really just fired for no reason. And I'll say that because you asked him to reach, he reached, and then you shot him. That's fucked up. Here, he was actively resisting. You seen him move his arm, shake his arm. You seen him shake him. You see him by the time that she had actually pointed at him, he was already sitting in the driver's seat. You know what I mean? So it's crazy, it's tragic, it's sad. But it doesn't mean that she should have to go to prison for it. She did not intentionally do that. It was an accident, yes. A horrible accident. But I don't think it was anything more than an accident. And do I think that the jurors will be like in the Kyle Rittenhouse, where they actually maybe think about the law and everything involved? No, I don't. I think they're going to cook her boots just like they did Derek Chauvin. The only difference is Derek Chauvin had a chance to not kill Floyd. He could have got up. This lady, Kim Potter, could have actually picked up her taser, not her gun, and made that horrible mistake that day. But it was on the news today that his girlfriend got on the stand and she was crying. Well, this is the article. Wright's girlfriend gives emotional testimony. Judge denies request for mistrial on day 2 of Potter trial. Testimony continued for the second day, Thursday, in the trial of Kim Potter. Jurors heard from Dante Wright's girlfriend, who was in the car with him on April 7th. The driver of the vehicle Wright's car hit after he was shot. The woman's daughter and the first Brooklyn Center police officers to respond to the crash Wright's car was involved in after a shooting. Elena Albright Payton said she and Wright met 2 or 3 weeks before his death and were dating. Although they never made it official, in her emotional testimony, she explained what happened on April 11th. and how nervous and scared both she and Wright were when they got pulled over. She admitted they had smoked marijuana after waking up that morning, but said they didn't feel its effect and never smoked marijuana in the car that day. She also said said that there wasn't any gun or weapon in the car. Now, I'll admit, when the police stop you, man, adrenaline does hit. I know when they stop me, man, I still bug out. Even though I ain't do nothing wrong, none of that shit. I still shake. My adrenaline still goes. But I do my best to be as polite and as respectful as I can because I want the encounter to be over as fast as it started. Now, I would venture to say Dante was afraid because he was aware that he had a warrant. With the cases that were on him and they were open, this other, he knew there was a warrant. He's not stupid. There's got to be accountability in this situation. There's got to be accountability in every situation. We got to be able to hold everybody accountable. Otherwise, what good is the motherfucking word? You know what I mean? Now, Kim Potter fucked up, as I've already said. And I understand when you smoke some weed, man, and you go, you go shower, go on about the day, and then you head out for the day. You probably not even really buzzing no more. So I get where that's coming from. I understand that all day. I did not read a report where they were high on marijuana in the car. So I believe that there was no weapon or anything in the car. I believe that dude probably was not riding dirty with the open warrant that he had. Would make more sense not to. Probably gonna flip the car when they stop you. Probably don't need anything extra on you. But she was with him for 2 or 3 weeks, so I gotta be an ass about that. I'm sorry, but she cannot say that she can really speak to Homeboy's character. You don't really know someone after 2 or 3 weeks. You just don't. And you could know someone for 10 years and date them for 3 weeks and figure out they're a completely different person. You know what I mean? So that's where I say, like, I understand where she's coming from. Young love just poofing to the air. But I don't think I would take what she says talking about character to, with more than a grain of salt. Now, through the tears, she said she didn't remember much of this during the scuffle, but after the gunfire, recalled the car taking off, crashing into another vehicle and Wright bleeding in the car. I didn't know what to do, so I just put my hands over his chest and tried to hold it. And I was just trying to scream his name and trying to get him to talk to me. I replay the image in my head daily, Albright Payne said. Sobbing, she explained she was trying to get him to talk and do what she had seen on TV, but Wright was just gasping. Jurors also heard from Brooklyn Center Police Officer Alan Solvosa, who was not only the first officer at the scene of the crash involving Wright's vehicle, but witnessed the crash. A large chunk of Solvosa's 70 minutes on the stand included the body camera and squad dash camera videos being played for jurors. The officer explained that he was confused about why he didn't hear any information from Potter, Lucky, and Sergeant Johnson when Wright's vehicle fled. He said it felt like forever for other officers to arrive. Perhaps the most notable information was from Solvosa. It took nearly 10 minutes from the moment Wright's vehicle stopped for officers to actually make contact with Wright and provide first aid. Solvosa noted that he followed his training and had no indication anyone in Wright's vehicle was armed. He also didn't know until after Wright was dead he had been shot by an officer. Brooklyn Center Police Officer Jeremy Sumners, who testified in the afternoon, and said the unknowns delayed officers from helping Wright. At that point, I didn't know because I know that there were shots fired and that there was a crash. So there was a lot of unknowns at the time. So let's cover that real quick. Now, when you get on the stand, you got to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, and so help you God, player. Or you may face perjury like, Pam Moses has to, and she's facing counts of falsifying documents. Man, just a sad little case over there. I did an episode on that the other day. You might want to check that shit out. No, hope y'all are staying blazed. Hope y'all staying locked the fuck in, because I'm trying to keep this shit savvy. You understand? I'm doing my damnedest. Got it? Got it. All right. So I really don't have an answer. I couldn't really tell you why it would take 10 minutes. I mean, we did see Kim Potter go fall over on the ground. And I'm assuming those two officers there wanted to know what the fuck just happened. What you mean you shot him? You know what I mean? Are you sure you shot him? Are you sure? Let's see the gun. Where's the gun? You know, they probably checked the gun, this, that. Those 10 minutes probably felt like an hour to Kim Potter, probably felt like an hour to everybody else in another situation. Just, what the fuck? Does it look good for them? No, not necessarily at all, no. Why? Because why did the Sergeant Johnson not just get over to Mike like, yo, officer involved shooting, vehicle fled, assailant shot, you know, something. But I don't think that Solvosa is going against like any blue line, especially when he even says there were so many unknowns going on at the time. There's so much unknown shit going down. And when he says it, it took officers so long to get there for first aid. In my knowledge, why would the officers be administering first aid? Why would there not be an ambulance? And, why was he not on the mic? What ambulance? Where's an ambulance? So I guess the blame could be passed back and forth because you've seen the crash. You was there for the crash. You ran up on him on the crash. Why did you not get on there, Mike? Like, oh yeah, crash at such and such. Need an ambo right now. And then you see, dude shot. Need an ambo. AAASP. Something. You know what I mean? Now, Solvosa noted that he had followed his training and no indication anyone in the car's vehicle was armed. So there's no weapons. We got that point, right? Now, jurors also heard from the Champlin police officer Daniel Irish, who responded to the scene on April 11th, Thursday afternoon, and saw a lot of body camera video of Irish and Sumner's, a paramedic in North Memorial Ambulance operation supervisor on April 11th, who also testified in the afternoon that they were originally told multiple people, possibly 3, had been shot and struggled to get information quickly at the scene. The officers and paramedics also testified that they never found Wright's pulse at the scene. We're going to keep reading. So mind you, I found this article with you. So from what I get from it right now is I don't know if the officers at Kim Potter scene were trying to, I don't want to say come up with a story because we've seen her fall over. So I'm assuming she was probably whiling, not fully understanding what just happened. What did she just do? You know what I mean? Like, she's probably, what the fuck did I just do? What just took place? So there's a lot of that going on. But the officers and the paramedics also testified they never found Wright's pulse at the scene. So he was shot and had died from the moment he had been shot to the time he had crashed, which wasn't that long of a distance. The woman who was driving the car Wright's vehicle hit after the shooting also testified Thursday morning, noting that her husband, who was in the front passenger seat that day, has had many health issues since the crash, which their daughter also confirmed. Additionally, a woman who lives kitty-corner to where Wright's vehicle stopped also discussed what she saw the day while providing her home security footage of the crash. While the testimony in the afternoon may not have been compelling as the morning, there were still some fireworks in the afternoon. The defense repeatedly objected to the state introducing video or pictures that had already been shown at the different time, leading to several sidebars and an extra 15-minute break for jurors. The defense attorney is doing what they're supposed to be doing. Poking holes where holes need to be poked. Because you can show the same pictures over and over again to help your case, help fit this motion. Like, look at what happened again. Look at what happened again. Look what happened again. And here we go. After the jurors were dismissed for the day, the defense called out the state for not presenting any evidence of Potter's guilt, which the state refuted as a part of the theory that Potter's actions caused harm to many people, when she shot Wright. The defense then moved for a mistrial. Judge Regina Chu quickly shot the motion for a mistrial down, saying, all right, we're really getting ahead of ourselves now. The court is set to reconvene at 10 a.m. and an hour later than normal on Friday morning. So we will be covering this more, believe you me. Definitely going to be an interesting one to file, to follow, just as Rittenhouse was. The judges had people go after her about this needs to be hook, line, sinker, guilty across the board. I don't think it is that easy. I don't believe that she, like I said, to me, I think it's an accident. And for the prosecution to be like, you know, because of her shot, he hit this such and such person. We can go right back to the beginning. If Dante Wright would have complied, none of those events would have happened. You have to, at some point, make him accountable for his own actions in this situation. If he was alive today, would the people he hit, would they not be going after him versus the officer? See, there's a lot of variables here that I think need to get brought up, especially when it comes to a conversation of this magnitude. And I think those topics and those thoughts are thoughts people do have. You know what I mean? Like, at some point, accountability and responsibility has to be taken back into like a role that we make people have to be accountable for. If he hadn't resisted that day, Kim Potter would not have shot him. The people he hit would not have health issues now, and there would have never been a crash. It's just, I mean, it's fucked. And you can have a million, like, I know there's news the one day showed videos of people that were talking about him, and there's like a school teacher, other people, and they were all crying. And all I thought is just sad, man. It's a tragic set of events for sure. But you can have a million people come and talk in your favor and cry in your favor, and it not, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I look at this. I'm not saying that I'm right. I'm not saying that I'm the smartest motherfucker in the room, but I try to look at shit with common sense and some logic. And I try to bring that shit to my show, and I try to tell everybody that listens to the show that that's how you should look at things. Because it normally gets you a whole lot further than if you try to look at things side-eyed, you know what I mean? And when I see the way the trial's going, I think the defense is doing what they're able to do at the moment. I think the prosecution is coming out strong, but I think they're laying it on heavy, and that's what they're supposed to do. But I also think if you show the same picture, 10 times, the jurors have to get a sidebar for this. It doesn't look good for the prosecution, because then it tells the jurors, like, yo, the fuck are you doing? Like, why do you keep doing something that you have to keep getting called up there for? You know what I mean? So it's definitely a fucking tit-tat game. But that's one of the reasons that I enjoy being able to watch some of these trials and listen to these trials. I mean, there's no live streaming and stuff like that. Judge Chu wasn't allowed none of that shit. So it's just the reports that we get. But after seeing how Judge Bruce E. Schroeder, it's amazing to see how many people hate Bruce Schroeder, the judge. They try to call this man a fucking right-wing, this, that, the other. The man's been a Democrat his whole motherfucking life. It's insane. If you even look up anything about Bruce E. Schroeder, there's some type of Democrat linked to his name, especially because of what he's done for the community and for who he's helped in office. This, that, the other. It's crazy to me. But that's why I think, especially with where like Black Lives Matter going after the judges and shit, that's insane. Let's look that up real quick. This is from Atlanta Black Star. Man accused of harassing judge in trial of cop who killed Dante Wright says he was exercising free speech when protesting at her home. The Minnesota man is accused of intimidating the judge and interfering with judicial process in the manslaughter trial of former police officer Kim Potter. The activist was arrested and charged with harassing the court official, and now his past relationship with the judge could have an effect on his new case. A group of protesters assembled outside of an apartment building thought to be the residence of Hennepin County Judge Regina Chu. On November 6th, they gathered to express their objections to Potter's trial not be televised or streamed live. Local activist Cortez Rice participated in action to persuade the judge to reconsider letting cameras in the courtroom. So, this is Cortez Rice right here. Priceless. So, that's him. Potter is a white female former police officer in Minneapolis suburb of Brooklyn Center who is charged with first-degree and second-degree manslaughter in the shooting death of Dante Wright in April. The former officer claims she mistook her handgun for a taser and fatally shot Wright during a traffic stop. As we've seen in the previous video, that's why I was happy to play the video and go over that shit, because when you see articles and the articles paint a completely, in my eyes, completely different picture. And as you can read it, if you read along, you can see I take some of the titles and stuff, I shorten them up. I'm not giving any, I don't need to keep calling it the former officer. It doesn't need to be all that much. You know what I mean? So, now in August, Chu ruled that the media would not be allowed to record, broadcast, or live stream from the trial because Potter and her legal team did not want cameras inside of the court. Under Minnesota law, either the defendant or the prosecutor can withhold consent a trial to be broadcast. Chu further believed that additional people would be elevated the COVID-19 risks. So this right here. And then look, she even did lead a legal branch. She did, however, afford the press and other forms of and other from the public an opportunity to view the trial from a designated overflow room. So again, everyone has a right, right? Everyone has their rights. Well, in Minnesota, I guess there's Minnesota law that either the defendant or the prosecutor can withhold consent for the trial. I do not blame Kim Potter and her legal team for doing that. Fuck that mess. Why would you want it televised? I think it made sense in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial. I think it made sense when it was Derek Chauvin. But I don't know if it makes sense in this trial. Especially with the lengths that activists have went to. Go to her house to protest. And to call her, I mean, it's kind of fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to go after the judge for a choice that the defendant's team made. You've already went to Kim Potter's house, scared the whole fucking family out the house. That I thought was fucked up. That's why I don't understand. When you want to go protest, I get protesting. But why protest someone's house? That's where their family lives. You know how many people you're scaring? Oh, fuck those people, rah, rah, rah. Guess it's real tough. I guess it's real awesome to have that point of view and that side of things, but it's kind of a fucked up outlook. At least that's how I see it. Now, Chu ruled at the time that while the concerned citizens and the media have the right to access public trials, Potter's right to ban TV cameras trumped the public interest in the value of any telecast. See, I'm good with that. I'm happy that it pissed a lot of people off. Because then it means you didn't get your fucking way because you wanted to have your way. Sounds like a win-win to me. People get as mad as they want, but I take that shit as a win. Sit on it and spin, motherfuckers, because she got that over you. Now, here we go. By October, a coalition of media outlets have filed motion asking the judge to reconsider. One precedent the group could point to was this year's murder trial of Derek Chauvin in the same county, where a judge in the case ruled that the proceeding could be telecast despite the objection of lawyers representing the former Minneapolis police officer. Now, I don't know why Derek Chauvin's the judge wasn't going to allow it, but I've also said that court was kangaroo court from the very beginning. Derek Chauvin's boots were smoked from 21 Jump Street. I don't think he was ever going to get a very fair jury, even if he was in a different county. I think the judge took whatever lenient take he could take on it and went with it. I think that judge did not care and wanted to smoke those boots as well. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Now, Chu, I think, is taking the other approach and showing that she does not have to cave to what the collective screams for. Even if she's not against what they're screaming for, she just isn't going to cave to it. And that shows a little bit of backbone, unlike the other judge. I'm just saying. Now, Rice as well chose to press the case for televising Potter trial. And the route he took was demonstration. At some point in the November 6th protest, Rice streamed himself not only going into the building, but making his way to the 12th floor to an apartment where he believed the judge lived. As he approaches the door, he believes Chu's apartment. He shouts to others, "I think this is her crib right here." After leaving what he thought was her doorstep, he went to the lobby and other protesters, informing them that's her window on the 12th floor. The criminal complaint was filed in Hennepin County, citing Rice's alleged harassment. I'm good with that. I'm good with him getting in trouble. Why? Because this is something that I think is fucked up and shouldn't even be allowed. Like, let's be honest. How is this even okay? That you're going to go up to the door and knock? Like, you're a real piece of shit. Just because you don't like a ruling, just because you don't like that someone doesn't want your dumb ass in there screaming and hooting and hollering. Man, It's called grow the fuck up and accept that you can't win everything. Can't always be your way. It's fucking crazy that this is the shit that we actually have to see and be. How do I want to say this? The shit that we have to see and something that we have to be fed. And something that's supposed to be okay when it's not. You shouldn't have showed up to her house. And how do you know it's her house? How are you snooping? Trying to dox a judge? Just trying to dox is fucked up. But trying to dox a judge, what do you think it's going to do you some good? What were you going to do? See if she wants to have tea with you? Or a cup of coffee? Do you expect her to invite you and 20 other people she's never met into her fucking house? And the fact that she was like, probably a better idea because it's getting later in the winter. COVID's a bitch. We don't want COVID, rah, rah, rah. You think the left would be praising this woman. She doesn't want you guys in this so you don't get the Rona. But no, we need cameras on Kim Potter. Crazy, man. Charge harassment, aggravated violations, tampering with juror related against judicial officer. You don't go after a fucking judge, you stupid ass bastard. Let's keep it 100. This is a stupid Minnesotan. And when I think of the trial itself, like I said, I don't know if Kim Potter is going to get away. I don't know how that's going to fare for her, but I guess we can always hope for the best for her. But you fucked up. I mean, it's the polarizing political shit that's going on, BLM protesting, this, that, the other. You got a judge that's trying to keep it seemingly somewhat fair, but it's not easy, especially when you have them trying to show up at your fucking house. It's fucking crazy. And it's almost like all the rules that you would have ever thought would have been rules, could have been rules, have never been rules, and were never going to be rules, and they're all out the fucking window now. It's insane. And you have people that try to justify this bullshit, and that's even more baffling. It's just baffling as fuck. I think we're just going to cap it off with this, my friends. It's from CBS News. Hate crimes up 100% in New York City this year, driven by crimes against Asian community, police say. New data from the New York Police Department reveals the hate crimes have skyrocketed across the city. Overall, there were 503 reported hate crimes this year as December 5th, up from 252 in 2020. 100% increase, the NYPD said Tuesday. Now, I think we know that crime is up across the motherfucking nation, right? It's crazy as shit. It's not stopping. When, where, and how. You know what I mean? This is wild. Now, one of the things that I notice and one of the things that I see is when you have a lot of these extremely blue ran states, a lot of these extremely blue ran cities, and then you see that the crime is rising. There was someone on the Clay Thompson and Buck section show today that said you can't say that crime is up when you decriminalize things. And a lot of these states have decriminalized a lot of things, whether it be theft, whether it be, like I know in Minneapolis, you can ride the right, they can't get you in trouble for riding the light rail now without paying. This dumb shit. But when you go to California and they can just go, steal up to a certain amount of money in a day, cost-wise, monetary wise, go to the grocery store, steal as much as you can before you hit this cap and you can get away, rah, rah, rah. That's why you have these stores being hit. These crews, whatever you want to call them, have came to realize they don't need to just go hit a Walmart or a Target. They can go hit these big fucking expensive stores. The cops ain't going to come there any faster than they came for the other ones. The only difference is they hit that monetary value quick, so they take as much as they can and get the fuck out of there. But as they've said, these robberies, they're planned. These are groups. These are teens. They know what not teens, but they're adults. They're doing they know what they're doing. They know what they're going for, and they're doing it quick, fast, and getting the fuck out of there. Just like in Minneapolis, how they're rolling up behind you in a car, waiting for you to go in the house, run up behind you, stick you up, take your shit. Hopefully they don't beat the fuck out of you, kill you, but I'm sure that's also a possibility. But this right here, this is something that we'd seen a few months ago, talking about stop the Asian hate. And there was a whole campaign for it. The left all rode that coattail as far as they could, but it's still a liberal city, still under the realm of fucking, under the helm, not the realm, the helm of fucking liberals. And yet, look at this, up 100%, 503 reported cases. How is that okay in any sense of the motherfucking word? You know what I mean? Now, Police say the spike has been driven by crimes against Asian community, where there has been 361 increase, 129 incidents this year versus 28 last year. The data is really shocking. Reminds me of just be more careful and take care of myself because things could happen. Student Shihao said to CBS reporters. Anti-Semitic crimes are up to 183 in 2021 from 121 in 2020. There are 185 crimes this year over sexual orientation, up from 29 last year. See, what happens when you want to fuck the police and change everything up so drastically? What happens is crime skyrockets drastically, and there's nothing you really can do to stop it. The crime just keeps going and keeps going and keeps going. There's nothing you are going to do to actually stop said crime. But yet, here we are in 2021, seeing crime go up across the motherfucking board, hate crimes go up across the motherfucking board, heinous crimes go up across the fucking board, but yet you still have people try to say that crime is not rising. As if the bodies aren't just dropping, as if the hate crime is not just happening. See, that's the kind of bullshit that people try to push. That's the kind of narrative that the media wants to run with, but they can't because the stats are the stats. The numbers do not lie, baby. And in this case, the numbers make a lot of these cities look really, really bad. And there's nothing these cities can do to get away from these numbers making them look stupid bad. When crime is hitting new records in certain states, certain cities, and percentages are going up over 100, up past 200%, flags need to be risen. People really need to start being awoken to these things and start to realize, like, hold up. The game that's afoot right now is a very dangerous one. And to feel safe out there and protect yourself, how? When you don't know what angle it's coming from, and it could be coming for no reason. The crime is up, and the Democrats keep a lying. Something there does not sit right. So on those notes, you already know what it is, baby. Stay blazed, stay blessed, and stay safe. Because the crime is a rising, and the safety is not a thriving.